Hey everybody, it's Greg and it's another edition of Unbreakable the podcast. It is Wednesday, hump day, March 20th, the official first full day of spring. Happy spring, everybody. It doesn't feel like it outside here. It's cold, it's windy, but better days are on the horizon. Hey, today is our classic TV show. I love doing this. And this is a classic. We love this show. I love this show. We'll talk about it for a little bit. Two-parter today. And well, let me just get on with it. You know how I usually sing the theme song of all these friggin' shows. This show has lyrics, the theme song, but it was never used on the theme show or on the show, other than one time. So without the lyrics, there it is. Ready? I can't butcher this because there are no words. Da 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 You know how when you freeze, they use like a picture that goes up with your YouTube thing there? I hope they didn't catch me when I was going. Anyway, yes, it's I Love Lucy. I love Lucy Day. I love Lucy Day. And I do love Lucy. Oh my God, I love this show. I love Lucy. Now, think about it. When you hear the name Lucy, who else do you think of? But Lucille Ball, right? I mean, there's Lucy from the Peanuts comic strip. I think there wasn't there an actress by the name of Lucy Lawless or something? But 70 years later, this show was filmed 70 years ago in the 50s. And whenever you hear the name Lucy, you think of Lucy. Lucy is Lucy, right? Lucy's Lucy. All right, so I'm going to throw out some stuff for you that I found about I Love Lucy. I Love Lucy. 6 seasons. It seems like it went on longer, didn't it? 6 seasons as a half an hour show, and then 3 additional seasons as an hour show. And we'll talk about that later on. But really, basically, the 6 seasons. And they say I Love Lucy is playing somewhere in the world continuously 24 hours. In fact, I think there's an I Love Lucy 24-hour station on cable. So I don't know. It's an incredible show. It went on 6 seasons, 180 episodes. The very first episode was called The Girls Want to Go to the Nightclub. And the final episode was called The Ricardos Dedicate the Statue. The show was originally called The Lucille Ball Desi Arnaz Show. That seemed kind of bland, I guess. So they changed it to I Love Lucy. We're going to talk about how the show got started, how it originated. Now, we're not going to get into like the spin-offs, like here's Lucy, there's Lucy, where's Lucy, da 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 da. We're not going to do that. We're going to stick with I Love Lucy, okay? And then they had Lucy movies, Lucy documentaries, Lucy radio shows. I mean, they really did. Now, well, we all like to talk about our favorite Lucy episodes. And I have my favorites too. How can we forget one of my favorites was the one where she did the commercial. Remember that? The vitamin medicine. And it was like a health tonic that she was doing. The thing is, the premise, in case you lived under a rock and you don't know what I Love Lucy is, I Love Lucy is about this couple that lives in New York. He's a band leader, and has an orchestra, and she wants to get into show business all the time, and she's scheming her harebrained schemes to get into show business. And she's also a housewife too. And it's just they're about their life, their daily adventures. I think that's why people can relate to the show a lot, because not that their husband is a band leader, but that they talk about things that we go through every day, you know. So anyway, I love that episode where she does the commercial, and supposedly she has to do take after take, so she drinks more and more of this tonic, which has like 23% alcohol in it. And by the end of the film and commercials, Lucy's a little new. Not really, but she was such a great, wasn't she such a great comic though? I mean, not only slapstick could she do, but she could do all kinds of comedy. She was a genius. Lucy was an icon and a genius. Another great episode aired on September 15th, 1952, the first show of season 2. That was Lucy and Ethel in the Candy Factory. Remember that one? Oh, Jesus. Where, the premise is Ricky and Fred were, they thought the girls have it easy at home. So and the girls thought, well, then they have it easy. So they decided to switch roles for a bit. And so Fred and Ricky were in the apartment at home, doing all the household chores, running the vacuum, cooking. And that's the episode where the rice boils over onto the stove. They just make a mess of it. Meanwhile, Lucy and Ethel get jobs at the candy factory, and their job is, as the conveyor belt, as the candy goes by, they have to pick up the candy, wrap it in paper, put it in a box, and go on to the next. Well, it goes so fast that they end up putting candy in their mouths and down their blouses and pockets. And it's a classic, and I love it. It's a classic. Now, I love when they took the show out of the apartment and they went to Hollywood. The premise was Ricky got finally got a movie offer in Hollywood, playing Don Juan, the Spanish, because Ricky was Cuban. Don Juan, the Latino lover. So they all pack up in the car, the merchants go with them, and they travel to Hollywood by car. And they stop along the way. It's a lot of fun. Mostly it gets them out of the apartment, out of New York, even though the show was filmed in Hollywood. And they have all kinds of adventures. And this went on for the whole season 2. Well, one of the great episodes, among many that they filmed out there on the California trip, the one with Harpo Marx, when Lucy meets up with Harpo Marx, 2 comical legends. And they meet up and they do this mirror skit where supposedly if you're looking in the mirror, Lucy is dressed as Harpo with the bushy hair and the hat, and they do the mirror thing, And it's just so fun. It's classic. And they only did that in one take. One take. Harpo Marx, he played the part for the episode and really played well. He played Take Me Out to the Block on the harp. And it's what a great episode. Another great episode was when out in Hollywood, John Wayne, Ethel and Lucy had this harebrained scheme again. They were going to steal John Wayne's footprints from in front of the Roman's Chinese Theater. Well, they did. The problem was they caught. Roman said they did not press charges as long as you bring it down. And because of the new Ricky wasn't shoes. So the thing is, before they could get it back to Romans, they dropped it in the club. So what do they do? What can they do in order to stay out of jail? It just so happens Ricky and John Wayne and Ricky to everybody. And John Wayne agreed to do another Pressing those foot with the bad. Well, they did it up, really down. And then John Wayne did it. John Wayne was did like 5 of these things. And every time Lucy would up in New York, she snuck into his trailer on the movie set. She disguised herself as Elizabeth Seuss in order for him to step over Wex's net. Anyway, at the end of it, John Wayne made like 5 different things just in case she must hurt. It was great, great episode. And who could forget when they went to Europe? And those are some of my favorite episodes. So the classic one is when Lucy stalked grapes in outside of Rome. And what happened was Lucy was given a small bit part in an Italian movie while Ricky wasn't anywhere. So she wanted to soak up some local culture and do some research. So she drove down by herself to a vineyard outside of the world, and she just wanted to see how to make grapes. Because this movie was called The Bitter Grapes, and it was about the vineyard industry. Well, to make a long story short, Lucy ends up getting in a bag of grapes, stalling grapes with this other woman. They start having a great fight. They start throwing grapes. They bury each other with the grapes to the color. It's classic. And the end of it is, it turns out Lucy, because of the grapes, she's stained purple. She can't get the stain off for a couple of days. And it ends up Ethel gets heartbeat. That was crazy. And another one was Lucy meets Superman. George Reeves. Remember George Reeves? He was the original Superman. And great episode. She wanted Superman to appear in Little Ricky's. Well, it turns out that Lucy, by some reason, gets stuck outside of the ledge of the apartment, can't get in. Superman needs to see it's tough. Anyway, so 4 out of the 6 seasons, and I Love Lucy was on. It was the #1 show in America. It won 5 Emmys. Of course, Lucille Ball won for sharing Emmys. So did William Frawley, who played Fred. So did Vivian Vance, who played Ethel. The only cast member who did not win an Emmy was Betsy. ABC News back in 2012, the People magazine named I Love Lucy the best TV show of all time. And the Writers Guild back in 2013, when they were doing their poll the greatest written shows in TV history, the writers did I Love Lucy as the number 12 show of all time. 12. It's 12. You know, so what Texas surprise to you? Yeah, number 12. The writing on that show is so consistent. It's so good. You know, just you really didn't have a bad episode. And if you did have a bad episode, well, then you had, it was always some funny moments in the episode, stuff. Just some other Lucy facts. Lucy came from Jamestown, New York, which was often mentioned in the show. And if you go to Jamestown, Indiana, they have a museum, Lucy Museum. That whole town is dedicated to Lucy. They have a Lucy Museum with a replica of the Ricardo's apartment set, statues of Lucy all over town, murals of Lucy, and of course, it is Lucy's 5 kids. So it's a gravestone with the famous parts on the stone with the ball in the sand. So she wasn't buried in Forest Lawn, right? Because she, true to her roots, they took her back to 10, and that's where Lucy is Western Road. Lucy, you probably know her, dated the Gilligan in the show. Um, this, they, this is funny. She met Ricky on the cruise. She went on the cruise with the Parksons. Now, this was never explained in the real show. This came out bit by bit during the 6 years of the show. And then after the show ended, when they did these hour-long specials, which we'll talk about, they did one episode dedicated to how Lucy met Ricky. And Ricky was playing with his orchestra on this cruise ship in the Caribbean. And Lucy happened to be there and with the Merksons that took a cruise. And that's how they met. Who would have thought it, right? And Ricky ended up going back to the States with Lucy. I was shut up. And and he got his visa and all this. It was also said in the program, Ricky had 5 brothers, and he was raised by an uncle from Burton. And Ricky, the character Ricky Porter, was a graduate from the University of Atlanta in Cuba. Ethel grew up in Albuquerque, and she was a model before she got Fred. We would have known. And Fred was little Ricky's godfather. Soft spot for the word can be. It's interesting about William Frog. When he was cast for this program, CBS, the show was on CBS. Really did what William Frog becomes apparently William Frog kind of drinking. But Desi Arnaz saw him, saw some of his movies, and really liked him a lot. So Desi pushed for William Frog to be cast as Fred. But 2 things. Desi had in his contract, William Frog's contract, that if he ever came to the set with alcohol in his blood, he would be immediately fired. And to his credit, William Frawley never, ever came to the set. But William Frawley, get this, was a big New York Yankee fan, big baseball fan, as I did. And he had in his contract, by the case of that, if the Yankees ever made the World Series, William Frawley would be excused from the show until the Yankees were out of the World Series, which happened quite a few times in the 50s, if you Lucy's middle name was Esmeralda in the show. Where Lucy and Mickey lived, the apartment building, which Fred was the landlord. The fictional address was 623 East 68th Street. The original apartment was apartment 4A. They moved to apartment 3B because it was a larger apartment. Now that address does not exist. It's a fiction. The original people who they wanted to play Fred and Ethel were Gail Gordon, who ended up guest starring in I Love Lucy a few times, and who ended up in the show Here's Lucy in the 60s. He co-starred with Lucy and Gail Gordon and B. Benedict, who was on Petticoat Junction for a time. Aunt B. But they could not, they had previous commitments. They could not get out of their commitments. So, as we're going to find out, they ended up casting Vivian Vance and William Frog in the roles. Now, here's how Lucy came to be. Lucy was, before Lucy started TV, she was on radio, she was in film. She's a beautiful, beautiful woman. She was a blonde. Lucy was a blonde. She dyed her hair red because she was under contract with MGM. And MGM was doing more color pictures. And she just thought they thought the red hair would still be would be good. She was ravishing, Lucy. So CBS saw the talk show. And when TV started cracking up, around 1940, CBS had two radio programs. So one was called Harvest Books, and the other was called My Favorite Husband. And they wanted Lucy to star in one of these shows. And they ended up casting her on the radio version of My Favorite Husband, not My Favorite Walk Show, My Favorite Husband. Well, what happened was they took that was such a popular radio show that CBS decided to turn it into a television series. So here's what happened. The original actor who was going to play Lucy's husband was a guy named Richard Denny. I don't know Richard. And Lucy, because she had a lot of clout, with the studio, really liked it, insisted that the new husband, Desi Arnaz, get the role. Well, CBS was very, very good. This because Desi was Cuban and Desi had an accent. They just weren't sure how this was going to fly. Well, the original writers for I Love Lucy, great writers. They also wrote Lucy's radio show, My Favorite. And Lucy asked them to write a kind of a vaudeville skit for her and Desi because they were going to prove to CBS, the sponsors, the big executives, that this could work. So they decided to do a vaudeville skit in Newburgh, New York, the Ritz Theater, and they invited the sponsors, CBS bigwigs, to see the show. Well, it was such a hit. The repartee between Lucy and Desi, that they changed their mind. He said that Desi's got the part. Desi's got the part. So originally the show was I Love Lucy was only going to run every other week. But the chief sponsor at the time, Philip Morris, cigarettes were back, big back then. They wanted the show to run every. So that's how I Love Lucy became a weekly show. Monday nights, CBS from 9 to 9:30. That was the day, that was the time slot for the entire run of I Love Lucy. Mondays at 9. And Lucy herself says they did research, and Monday nights at 9 o'clock, I Love Lucy was so popular back then that they even registered the toilets weren't flushing, the cabs, nobody could get a cab because nobody was out on the streets. I mean, everybody was in watching I Love Lucy. Mondays at 9. The activities, it just shut down. In order for Philip Morris and CBS to get their way for I Love Lucy to become a weekly half-an-hour show, Lucy and Desi, having buying power, said, "Okay, we'll do it that way, but you got to give us still." Lucy and Desi ended up owning 80% of I Love Lucy. 80%. Which was a very shrewd, Desi Arnaz, a very shrewd business. Very shrewd. And that's how Desi Lou Productions came to be. And they eventually sold that share of Desi Lou and the share of I Love Lucy back to CBS for billions and billions of dollars. I mean, they knew what they were doing. Between Desi and Lucy, they were just geniuses. Now, when we do part two, which I will film right now, but I'm gonna edit this and get it once so you can see part one. When I come back, we're gonna talk more about the roles, the characters. We're gonna talk more about how Lucy herself was so between Desi and Lucy, they were just pioneers of television. The concept of using 3 cameras instead of 1 to film their shows. I mean, they were just great. But without Lucy and Ball, some of our classic TV shows that we grew up with probably never would have been. So stay tuned for part 2, okay? We'll talk more I Love Lucy. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. But stay with me because the best is yet to come. Part 2 of our tribute to I Love Lucy. See you in a minute.